Next, it's going to be Effortless versus Dramis, potentially one of our close matches of the day, and this is week number 6 of the Quake Pro League. My name's Ketchup, joined on the desk by ZSX. What do we make of this matchup up next?
I think they're very similar in their playstyles, like to be aggressive, both have great aim. I've seen probably more discipline coming out from the peaks of Dramis and the peaks of Effortless, but sitting at what, 17th and 18th or 16th and 17th in the leaderboard, you can expect a very similar leveled matchup personally.
If anything, this matchup is a real opportunity. You know, these two players are very, very close on the leaderboards, and it is always coming down to the fact that in Stage 2, players are awarded more points than they did in Stage 1. The breakdown's still the same. You know, we get X amount of points for a map win, and then you get a bonus amount if you get, 3-0 versus an opponent. But the important thing is, if a player loses 3-0, they get nothing. And if you are this close, there is 1 point in between, or 1 placement in between Effortless and Dramis on those leaderboards, that a 3-0 either way is a massive opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. And it can really make or break the season almost when you're playing against people so close to you in those leaderboards. And as you say, if it does go to a 3-0, which there's actually no reason why it can't, then we're going to see some disruption in the mid-level of that leaderboard.
All right, so I believe we have Effortless to go over, have a little bit of a chit-chat about him, and he's a player that really relishes, like, fast movement, right? He's always kind of known to kind of pick those slightly more high-octane champions. Doesn't live and die by it by any means, but I definitely think there is a personal preference there. A lot of these clips, he's often to use the crouch sliders, but that's where he and Dramis are very similar in that effect. They have a very similar champion pool, which is what I find so interesting when they go head-to-head, because you can only choose, one of those champions, and then it's removed from play. So their own sort of champion pool kind of gets halved, and they can only use certain bits of it.
Yeah, for sure. As you said, they both like to play aggressive, and that really leans you towards a certain type of champion. And it can come down to who's hitting more on the day. I think Effortless overall plays more aggressive, particularly on the defense. And so that can lead you into some real bad situations if you're not hitting your shots or if you're not taking the right fights. Whereas if you're a bit more disciplined like CNZ, even on the back foot, it doesn't get spiral out of control. I think that's what sometimes I've seen with Effortless. It can get almost to the point of no return quite quickly in the map. Almost there was a similar way to how the Ron one ended just now. And so if he can refine that element of his game a little bit, there's no reason why he wouldn't be a very scary player for a lot of players.
Now, Dramis is a player that, when Quake Pro League first began, he really wasn't on a lot of people's radar. Look at his name, The Unknown. He is this kind of sleeper hit that wasn't a player that a lot of people were really kind of looking at. But over the course of the 2 stages, there has been some extremely distinct growth in this player. I feel like it's not even close to the same Dramis that we started with, to the point where he's able to bring it to some real killer tiered players. And if he just continues that grind, and grind is something he's been on in droves. Now, he's been going so hard in the ranked duel leaderboards and just grinding as much as he can, and he just seems to get progressively better and better every week.
Yeah, and I think if you look at all of the players in the Pro League, he might be my pick for who has progressed probably the most in terms of his overall gameplay. He's always been someone with a lot of potential, but he's definitely finding his groove a lot now. And one of the most recent matchups is where he took the hang right to the wire. I think it was 2-1 in the end, and could have been quite easily 2-1 the other way, or even 3-0 to Dramis. He played exceptionally well. And he's showing, as we said, an amazing combat skill set, but he's definitely refined his overall game and is able to take the best players right to the edge.
And we're only in week 6, and this is week 6 of Stage 2. There is a lot of potential there to go even further.
For sure.
And if this is the point Dramis is currently at, and there's a lot more potential stuff to come, it all banks on him getting good weeks now. Always to bring it back and talk about the fact that we're at week 6 now. This is where it starts to get a bit more pivotal for some of our players, where we have to talk about the relegations and players that are on the lower end of the global leaderboards. They are players that kind of need to worry if they don't have good results from here on in.
Yep.
If he gets a 3-0 now, there's the potential to just make such an insane difference. And it's on the flip side, you know, if Effortless is able to 3-0 dramis today, he in turn doesn't have to worry as much about it and can just play solid for the weeks to come.
No, it's getting tense down there. The fact that I think Unix on like high 40s and these guys are just on 60. You know, there isn't a lot of points there, but equally Tox up in 10th or 11th is on 75, 76, something like that. So the gap between 20th and right up at 10th is really not as big as people might think it is. And a 3-0 can push people right up into the higher echelons of the leaderboard and make a big difference for the final stages of this of the Quake Pro League.
So let's have a look at the vetoes. We can see what the picks and bans are going to be. I strongly feel like champions might make a difference here. And almost immediately, we can see quite a high-octane match. We're starting on the Ruins of Sarnath, and it's Sorlag versus Strog. Blood Run up next. That kind of almost naturally enforces different picks. The Slash was removed, coming out as quite a personal respect ban, I think. dramis has been quite vocal in the past that Slash is kind of like his big pick. And then finishing things off on the Blood Covenant with the Athena. We can see Athena, she's a hit or a miss.
Oh, yeah.
If she does well, she does stuff that only she is capable of. But if she can't get going, she looks like the biggest glass cannon there is.
Absolutely. I mean, she's one of the champions I love to watch for that reason. It's quite an unusual matchup, and I think she might struggle a little bit against the Visor just because of the stack differential and the fact that he will have slightly freer reign of those time vials, meaning he can hopefully, at least for Effortless's sake, abuse the piercing sight quite well. The Galena versus the Ranger is a bit more of a traditional matchup, and then on the first map, obviously, we're going to have probably the favourite picks for both of these. Sorlag versus a Strog and Pika. Get some crouch sliding, get some speed, some aggression coming out. Ruins is a good map for both of them. The fact they can use those the movement-based abilities right up on the upper ground. And as we saw, similar to CNZ, take the pressure on off those spawns.
Now, if we were to talk about predictions and what we expect to go down here, although it would be pivotal if there was a 3-0 either way, realistically, I'm not 100% convinced that a 3-0 is what we're going to see. I think it's more likely we'll see a 2-1, but I strongly believe the maps could be quite close. But it's this first pick might be somewhat of a maybe a trend setter. We have two players that are evenly matched. However the first map goes, you can get a lot of information in that short space of 10 minutes. And we're going to load in Effortless versus dramis. Important match right here. Two players that are deadlocked on the leaderboards, and a 3-0 either way would be a absolutely pivotal moment.
Yeah, it would be. I completely agree. I think it'll be a 2-1. I'm going to side with dramis just from what I've seen recently. I think he's been showing slightly better Quake, better dueling, but nevertheless, Effortless is one of those people that if he turns up, he can really use it.
There's a huge stack difference here. dramis forced into an awkward position. Goes in for a Pika at the last second just in case. I mean, maybe some bonus damage, but fundamentally, Sorlag was so tanky, there was no way that was going to even tickle, I think. But 1-0 for Effortless. A great start and great positioning, actually, to try and just get as much damage as you can to bully dramis from the rail. If dramis hadn't quite taken that rail there, it's an opportunity to just get some free damage before it's finally collected.
Yeah, that light armor spawn is one of the more difficult ones because without knowing where your opponent spawns, you have a 50-50 chance of running into him, and unfortunately dramis, he chose the wrong option, but has the better weaponry, and Effortless missing those rails, meaning dramis pushes in at the right time for the kill.
Oh, and a quick little switch just to get some of that bonus damage out too. Effortless has to be really careful because there's no armor to retreat to, and this is going to be a battle of hitboxes. Oy. There's the Pika. Air Assault, yes please. The second Effortless didn't have any armor there, and they both had an LG. That fight was just disadvantage Effortless. You have such a larger champion that there's no way that LG's going to miss. No.
dramis playing smart, backing off to the one area where Effortless needed to go in terms of picking up that weaponry, and Effortless making the mistake of pushing in. So a slightly sloppy start from Effortless, even though he got the much better of the spawns. dramis slowing down the pace, making sure he's keeping control of that heavy armor area, trying to keep Effortless away from that 100 rocket there.
Uh-oh!
Good use of the peak coming out from dramis.
Now, what's the play going to be from here? Looking to get some rail, but dramis, unfortunately, couldn't actually return the damage, and yeah, sticking around there would have been a little bit too generous, allowing Effortless to sit there and potentially get some more rails on deck. dramis has a lot of stuff to fall back on. The stack, happily regenerated, and we just need to get in and out. That all-important LG, quite a miracle weapon versus the larger champs, but here comes the Acid Spit. Scary position for dramis. Can dramis get out? Hits the rail, but was probably hitting that rail hoping it would kill. You know, that was if I hit the shot, I'm dead. And if she survives, then I'm dead anyway. So no choice but to go. And that was some crazy LG almost immediately. Felt almost strange that was a trade-off there.
Just too aggressive from Effortless. There wasn't any need for him to push in as aggressively there. Could have quite easily have done damage from range and then backed off to get the Mega. Nevertheless, does pick it up off the spawn.
Oh, that's some damage! And then some rockets into the rail. dramis scores another frag here.
And this is playing out exactly as we said at the start. The Effortless, great aim, some good plays, but it's just too aggressive, and particularly on the defense, it is far too susceptible to giving up easy frags, whereas dramis is playing a much slower paced game, almost giving respect to Effortless, but is working in his favour.
Now here's the Mega collected. Certainly Effortless definitely heard it, so there's going to be elements of timing there at least. Not a massive delay in between the two items. There's not been this constant game of control. It's been
but dramis
extended fights almost.
Exactly, and dramis is the one that's picking and choosing fights better. He's trying to deal more damage from range and it's not working out, he's backing off, but Effortless, as we see, is just running into him time and time again. He's the one that needs to slow the pace down because he is doing good damage, but he's taking fights in the wrong positions.
It can be sometimes so attractive trying to take a fight as a Sorlag. You know, you're so familiar with having a large stack. You know, if the acid spit's ready, you can be so eager to go in there and get the damage done. But actually, this time, dramis potentially thinking maybe Effortless went the other way, just choosing to go straight forward, and that was just a bad start for dramis. Really, I think maybe assuming he can get in and out, but with the gauntlet already out, I'm not even sure he half believed in it. That's ultimately, yeah, I know it's the highest damage you can possibly get, but if you know it's a risk, he's still dedicated to the play all the same.
Yeah, I think as you mentioned, he wanted to try and steal that heavy, even if he was going to die for it, but not getting the heavy is really critical.
5-4, there really isn't much separating them now. Effortless has the perfect chance to finally go in, and this is where the benefit comes into play. The area denial of that acid spit, and the rocket up close. Sorlag, that's her bread and butter, just being nice and close range. And now dramis, constantly without armor and a low stack.
No, dramis needs to get onto that rail and try and play more positioning now. Effortless has learnt his lesson from the start of the game, really. Playing a lot slower, perhaps realizing that dramis wasn't as much of a pushover as he expected to be in terms of the fights.
Entry damage with the Pika actually did a significant amount of damage to Effortless. Potentially a lot more damage than I think Effortless was prepared to take. The armor has been deleted around 2. Should be a light around here soon at some point. He's sticking around just in case, but yeah, does he even have time to chase it down? He knows that he's a crouch slide. He's going to be going around that missed rail. That could be a death sentence. He's going in for some rockets. No! dramis hits the pillar. A pivotal suicide. That one's unfortunate right there.
No, it was the right play from dramis, but Effortless had a strong position behind the pillars, making it exceptionally hard for dramis to do any damage. And as soon as he pushed into that close combat fight, the stack was actually pretty even because of the heaviness of the Sorlag.
That's always really unfortunate when you go in, because you know, I felt like Effortless, there was a potential to survive there if he hit the rockets, but it didn't even really come down to that. It was just a perfect position. He picked the most awkward place to take a fight possible.
Yeah, and you're right. As soon as he missed the rail, it should have been a kill, but ultimately just...
Wow.
Now Effortless is able to push it as he wanted to.
And that's that game of just constantly keeping the pain train rolling. If you're Sorlag, you get close range, you know you've got a fat stack. Acid spit and rockets are just a complete nightmare to deal with as well. dramis consistently, even though he is a fast champion, you know, you're so much familiar with crouch sliding champions being kind of in and out before they're even at risk of being in danger.
Yeah.
But so far, Effortless just keeps pincering, you know, just pinning him into corners and stuff like that. You rarely see dramis in those positions.
No, and if Effortless plays smart, he can really take a stranglehold to this map. It's crying out for it. That's a good rail from dramis. And the fact that Pika doesn't hit means he can't push it, but that rail does enough. Wow,
oh, wow.
No way.
Oh, hang on. It's fallen apart. dramis, yeah, finally manages to get the health bubble at least. That would have been, I think, one of the worst ways a fight could turn around. No other easy way to say it, to be honest. That was a strange exchange.
Slightly greedy going for the last couple of peak rails. I think he might have missed 2 in a row, but great opening in here. Effortless looks at the jump. Does enough.
4-7 now is LSX. And a good spawn. Immediate rail. dramis fresh off the spawn. He's going to have an LG now. But, you know, what else was he going to have to survive that fight right there? Pushing in full speed ahead, but the heavy looks like it's already been taken. Yeah. And Effortless just a little bit too late to the party.
Poor timing. Really poor timing. There was no reason why he needed to be there that late. Should have set up far earlier for that.
But Pika, oh my god,
no.
again! Effortless, that was by all accounts a Strog sitting there out in the open, but you feel like the Pika just distracted Effortless for enough time to get that bonus rocket off after detonation.
It's so chaotic right now. They both just want to brawl.
This is a very different series from the one we just saw at the start of the night, let me tell you that. There are many ways Quake Champions can be played.
Still 2 minutes to go, so there's absolutely no rush for dramis to make anything happen. He knows what he wants to do. Can he get out of there? If he can, he can get onto that Mega, but just decides to drop down, plays the safer option.
The danger of constantly taking that tick damage from the Acid Spit. Every time you take damage, that damage number appears for the Sorlag player. Effortless knew exactly where dramis was retreating to there, thanks to all the damage that was coming through.
They both think they've taken the heavy, so it stayed up for a very long time. Effortless eventually finding it, fortunately. dramis needs to now hit some chip damage or a rail or two before he can make anything happen. But a minute and a half to go. There is plenty of time.
Trying to really put himself in a better position for this Mega. Effortless kind of squeezing his way through, though. Only a little bit of the tick damage was dealt, unfortunately. dramis forced away from the Mega for just long enough that he can't really fight for it. And this is that moment where he's looking for those rails. Can he get some entry damage before a fight even breaks out? But so far, rails completely failing to hit their mark. And Effortless has full control. Another missed rail. How many misses are going to come through? Effortless actually failing to punish as well. There is the rail actually finally hitting its mark. dramis is behind, and behind is what Effortless needs with less than a minute on the clock. We are finally starting to see some rails. There's not a lot of time left, though. dramis has to be really careful, and that Mega could be the last Mega he gets his hands on.
This is going to be the fight now because he knows Effortless is going to be pushing down for it.
Oh, does manage to get at least a bit of information, but he's just too weak. Even after the slight health bubble, he's railable. He needs armor, and he needs it right now.
Effortless is making such risky plays, and dramis is missing some relatively easy shots for this level of play, and it's just not punishing Effortless. Oh, he's got the wrong weapon out if he gets caught.
They can't see him either. Effortless springs the trap.
Oh, he's missed the
He
rail.
returns. I cannot believe that fight. Effortless was able. He had dramis run right past him. Effortless made the choice to spring the attack, but no, he hit the wall. What is the spaghetti that we're looking at right now? dramis. Oh my god, the sudden death. The acid ticked away. It's just enough.
I can't believe what I'm watching.
I think this is the most chaotic end to a map that we've ever seen in Quake Pro League. Like, it has to be.
So sloppy from both players.
Yeah, but if they're both doing it, it's an even playing field. Pika goes down. Effortless is almost one rail away from death. What is going on here? dramis now looking to maybe position near heavy. Mega is available. I know we are in that sudden death. There is one more frag in this. dramis better set up. He's in a potential now to go here and take the Mega. He's got plenty of ammo. He has everything he needs. But if Effortless manages to spring the attack, there's potential here. Full speed ahead. dramis going in, hits the rail, but by no means am I going to say he's got this. Does he have it at the end? No, the rail hits, but he has too much stack. ZSX, that was a map. That was an ending right there.
Yeah, because all at once, I feel like, how did dramis win that, and how did Effortless lose that, and how did dramis not win that earlier, and how did Effortless not win that? Like, I don't really know. I don't really know what happened. It felt that
we need to watch it back in slow motion.
Yeah, we kind of do. It felt like dramis was making all the right choices and missing all the shots, and Effortless was taking the wrong positions, but also then doing much better in close combat fights.
But I also look at what happened at the very end, where there was about 20 seconds on the clock. They were by light armor. Effortless was by super shotgun. dramis slides right past, and he doesn't check the right hand side, doesn't check the shotgun, and he runs right past Effortless. The only reason he turns around is because Effortless starts to pepper down some LG. Yeah. I'm honestly thinking, what if Effortless just sat there and allowed him to run past?
The last 2 minutes of the game, there were so many situations where Effortless was taking fights and trying to hit rails where he just didn't need to. He was exposing himself way more than was necessary. I mean, it's just one of those things where you have an amazing rail, you have some great aim, that you become way too overconfident. But dramis also wasn't punishing him as well, or at least not for as much as he needed to. So Effortless was getting away with it, and there was a long period of time where Effortless could have quite easily run away with that game. He had a big stack advantage, he was hitting some good shots, but he was just, I don't know, he was just eventually taking one fight too many and completely putting away so much of the good work.
I think we are going to get this on replay. I really want to see that moment again. I guess probably the moment it all went wrong. You know, the unnecessary sudden death was triggered.
Yeah.
By all accounts, that was kind of a done deal. But it just came down to that one bit of giving yourself away. I really want to watch it back and see if there was potential maybe. Yeah, it was right here.
Yeah.
And that was it. He turns around
and then
afterwards.
he tried to rail.
Oh, that shouldn't have happened.
And missed 2 rails in a row. I mean...
and then this fight as well.
As chaotic as that was, and as unpredictable as that was hella fun to watch.
Oh no, because the thing is, in these positions, when both players are making those kind of mistakes, it does in turn become an even playing field.
Yeah,
and even here, this could have been it. But the rail hit its mark. Effortless did hit a very clutch rail at the end. It's just that dramis had too much stack at that stage.
I think it was such a contrast as well, coming from the CNC game where he played so disciplined and so clean to just what was a cluster mess of a duel that was super fun to watch. Both players hitting some great shots and very close in the end, but still 1-0 to dramis somehow.
I hate to be that guy, but as commentators, we have to be the masters of hindsight, right?
Okay.
Now, if this is the start of a bit of a downward spiral where maybe this has kind of affected Effortless a little bit. I know sometimes, I don't want to use the word tilted, but Effortless has been somewhat affected by maps in the past where it's kind of stayed on his mind throughout the rest of the maps, right?
Yeah.
If that is one of those moments and dramis secures a 3-0, I wonder if there is ever going to be that feeling of, if only I just let him run past me in map 1.
I think there was a lot of what-ifs in that map, to be honest.
Yeah.
It wasn't
like
that one.
10, 20.
But, no, you're right. It's one of those...
All
right, dramis. It's one of those games where it was that would be more of a frustrating one because it was, in a sense, Effortless throwing it away a little bit. But nevertheless, any good player needs to try and reset their mental state and take it one game at a time.
And I love the change this map has actually brought on board, seeing as the power-up has had some of those items adjusted. It's not so much of a safe haven of just constant bulking up tools like it used to have.
No, but it is still a very difficult map to catch people if you play well, I think. I casted it a few weeks ago. I think it might have been CSZ base where it was a 1-0 and it was the entire time trying to chase shadows. So skilled players can make this map hell for you.
And these champion picks, they kind of reflect what kind of tools you want. Effortless is actually, I know we talk about Effortless as quite a high-octane movement player, but he has actually got a very talented Galena. We've seen it from time and time again. Galena can be exceptionally powerful on this map. It's already a map that you kind of just keep eluding people, and then you take the totems, which is constantly bulking yourself up and also denying really important mobility tools that you have to use, like teleporters and stuff.
For sure. And already we're seeing a very different play style from Effortless, and that's partly because, as you say, he's more accustomed to the Galena. It's also partly because when you get a Saw lag and a stack, you like to run around, you feel fast, and you're trying to abuse that, but it can also take you into some real big trouble. Whereas now he's
beautiful.
A beautiful...
But he died.
What?
I don't understand how he died. But perfectly well played there from dramis, to be honest. It just must have been a matter of Effortless just not quite getting the splash he was looking for.
I mean, I would love to see that from dramis' pod, because it felt like Effortless was on top of him for about a good 3 seconds.
Surely dramis must have just hit some crazy damage rockets there. I hope we can get it from his perspective at the very least. I'd love to see it back. But either way, it's there's not even any time to really reflect and think about it. He's going to try and stack himself back up. Wants to get the Mega after the rail gets missed, trying to deny potentially losing that damage out. But he goes face first into a totem. Punish Effortless. Can he survive? Hits a rail. Both players weak, but thankfully dramis has got the 2 bubbles to fall back to. Make that 1 more.
What I would really like to see from Effortless is a bit more efficiency in his damage. He just missed 4 rails in a row before hitting that 5th. If the same way as we saw Kron and CNZ abusing that super machine gun, heavy machine gun should I say, I would like to see a bit more of an efficient uses of weaponry coming up from Effortless. Just till he gets...
Oh, that was beautiful setup.
Just to get more map control and chip away at his opponent. But dramis now is the one that's slowing down the pace.
We look at what he can do from this now. Has a fair while before the Dire Orb's ready to rock, but that was such a beautiful little combo. And he's now looking for an opportunity. Does manage to find Effortless, doesn't want to super dedicate. Happy to back up and just get some rail damage all the same. Mega, just been snapped up. At the very least, dramis will have some timing on that. Effortless. A nice little stack to work with. Point blank, and by all means, that should be his fight. And he finally is managing to secure it. He's been able to spring the trap more than once there. Hasn't always worked out for him, but Effortless, he's been able to kind of just get those surprise moments on dramis a couple of times now.
Yeah, it almost felt that dramis read that move, but just misread the timing of that move, and so gave Effortless a slight advantage. I'm not sure if he hit the totem as well mid-fight, which would have helped a lot. There's some good damage from Effortless there, knowing now he can push in if he needs to, but playing a positional game, hopefully catching him off guard.
It's scary going up against a Galena too, because every time you use a totem or a teleporter, there's always that thought in the back of your mind that, you know, is this going to be safe? It's not just a matter of, is someone going to be there, or are they going to be peppering out some tri-bolt or whatever? There's this extra element of, am I likely to take damage here, and can I afford to take damage? It limits your movement so much more than it does facing off against other champions, because that extra piece of doubt just goes into the back of your mind. The Mega is going to get taken. Currently, you know, just about to hit the 5-minute mark, making it halfway through. Both players kind of even here. Whoa, nice little rail and perfect placement with the totem. They're really, at that point, dramis, I'm not sure there was much he could do to get out of its range. It was kind of always just placed on him and there was no escape. Effortless trying to get in and out.
Lovely lightning gun from dramis there. That's just what he needed off the spawn to even up this map.
Oh, this is the rail. That's information.
Good control, 15-second split now as well. But the stacks aren't too different. They will be after this, but good follow-up damage from dramis. And he gets away relatively cleanly.
Not as much health and armor to fall back on in that room as there used to be. Now, his retreat. Ah, the tri-bolt. That's information for Effortless. He knows there might be potential here to actually go in and quickly grab that heavy. It's going to be bang on the money. Dramis very weak indeed.
Oh, he ran at that totem, I think, as well. Maybe not.
So far, it looks like Effortless has been the one in control, able to get another one of those megas, hitting a great rail. His rails have been much better on Blood Run than they were on the Ruins, but the control just continues. You know, the stack is nice, 3-2.
It's also because he's playing a slower game with better positioning, so the rails...
Oh, not again, dramis!
Dramis' orbs have been off.
They have been missing their mark. That's, I think, the third time he missed his mark with it, and he's been punished every single time. And that's a bad time to miss an orb. You know, Effortless was already in the lead. Now he keeps the control that he's had for about 3 minutes now at least.
Yeah, and this is Effortless's game to lose now. 4 minutes to go. This map's already been ticking away quite quickly. But 2 frags is enough on Blood Run as well. The one thing that Effortless has been doing all series is taking too many risks with his rail and taking too many rail fights, and that could go against him, but he is hitting them now.
Oh, but he misses what could have potentially been the final one. It's the setup rails, that's the thing. Effortless, when the time comes to hit a rail, he's hitting it. It's just the setup rails to chip out the damage, to make it so the one he finally hits delivers that final killing blow. He's not able to quite do it. Like now, he's hitting up those setup rails, just needs to finish the job. dramis in a difficult position. Which way is he going to try and retreat to? He is just about to have Dire Orb, but he's already been able to just slide in and out. Effortless doesn't want to push as heavily. There's not as much of a reason to. You know, if we can keep control here, keep dramis behind. We have 3 minutes left on the clock. You know, take the time that dramis has to spend now disengaging, getting the stack back up. We can keep control. And dramis the whole way still has to get 2 frags before he's even things out. Effortless doesn't need to be fast now.
No, exactly. And that's what we're seeing him doing. And hopefully he can continue to do that, because you're right. He doesn't need to commit. He just needs to maintain control carefully. Make sure the items are secure. Deal chip damage as and when he can. Perfect.
I actually loved that play too, where he didn't jump down the ledge. He walked down the ledge to make less noise. Perfect.
And that would have been very easy for him to just jump across and take that heavy armor, because he's in a confident, strong position. But there we go. Securing the items, knowing dramis needs to do some damage. So good read by Effortless.
And the denial continues. How much of this map has Effortless just had a way bigger stack advantage?
He's played so differently, so much more composed to the previous map.
Somewhat unlike Effortless, actually. like the second you have a map that ended the way the first one did, and then we go into a next map where you have to play extremely, like, you know, opposite of what you were playing before. It's not an easy task. So
no,
the fact he's been able to do it is impressive as is.
And as you said, like, will he be tilted from the last map? Well, he's giving you a good answer, but you know, 2 minutes to go, only 2 frags in it. dramis still in a good chance here.
No orb.
Nice.
He's got to watch out for that nail gun damage. Even though he was no armor in play, the nail gun can just, you know, click your fingers and you just get melted away.
But Effortless is in a weak position here. dramis can actually hold out to pick up both items.
Heavy is going to spawn. Looking for it. And he's going in.
Caught him.
Full speed ahead. He's hit the marks, but Effortless with the rockets.
Yeah, good defensive rockets by Effortless. Could have gone either way.
And now dramis has to go in and actually gets a favourable spawn. If you're a ranger and you've just spawned, oh my god, full speed. Is he going to get it? Oh no, he misses the shots! Effortless!
Oh.
Gets the frag, dramis. This has been such an unfortunate map, but again, the teleport. What is going on here?
Oh my, there's one more rotation of items to go, and dramis can pick up both, but he doesn't really have time to get more than one.
And I think banking on getting a good spawn every single time might be too much to ask too. Manages to get the heavy. But let's not forget, this is Blood Run we're talking about. This is a map where you can run away for 30 seconds
he knows
quite
where
easily.
He is. He absolutely knows where he is.
He finds him, goes in, full speed, gets it point blank, and the orb. He's not going to have it for the rest of the fight, but where is the spawn? He has to find him. He finds him!
Is he going to go... He doesn't go through the teleporter, but he still knows where Effortless is going to be. Effortless is going to jump down. Has he read it?
He's got no dire orb, though. He can't go through the grate. This could be it. 10 seconds. Effortless, by all accounts, should have it. Chases it down. One more rail will kill him. dramis just has to find him. He's found him, but can he get the shot? No! No!
Oh! Jesus. Half a second away from a rail that would have killed Effortless.
That's a clencher. You know Effortless was clenching super hard right there.
Ouch.
I cannot believe it. Now, you just have to beg the question. He fought to it until the very end, but why did that get so close near the end? Because of some tragic mistakes from dramis, mostly in related to the dire orb. Jeez, you know, if there weren't those couple of tragic fights where he just did the orb like half a second too early and fell short and got punished, I think there were 2 frags that happened that caused that. If those kind of crazy mistakes weren't made, dramis wouldn't have had to do as much crazy work as he had to do at the last minute. The fact he made that as close as it was incredible to begin with. But the fact of the matter is, he shouldn't have been in that position in the first place.
No, you're absolutely right. But all credit to Effortless because he capitalized upon those mistakes. This is that weird frag.
He's like literally Super Mario Brothers on his head for 3 seconds straight.
But yeah, all credit to Effortless because he did capitalize upon those mistakes. He played a solid game, very different to the previous one.
I mean, I love that fight.
My main criticism was potentially the overuse of the rail, particularly in situations where there are better weapons choices. Nevertheless, like you can see here, just good positioning all around, strong control of the items. And dramis was a little bit clueless for about 3 or 4 minutes, but when he got control, he was able to get back really quickly, and you can see there's a couple of fights that didn't go his way.
Some of those rockets from Effortless were absolutely beautiful so far, and this was that last moment. This is where the pressure started to add up. Effortless just had to run away, and he was playing the Blood Run to its greatest strengths, but dramis, actually, there was some good fortune on him too. I think that some of those frags that dramis was able to secure came from having an extremely favourable spawn where he kind of just happened to spawn at the right place to, hey, I spawned. There's a teleporter there. Run through. Bam. No, done. He just had to... You can only prey on good luck for so long. They reached that point where he had to make something happen, and he did. By all accounts, he was 1 second away from hitting that final rail that could have brought him into it. But just...
it was fun again. Another fun game. These guys have
fun.
got some fun games, so hopefully third one lives up to that as well.
I mean, if memory serves me right, we're going to see the Visor versus the Athena.
We are on
Blood Covenant, I believe.
Right?
Yeah. If it's Athena, it's normally Blood Covenant. That's normally the rule I go by these days. But I mean, fundamentally, with how like ridiculous the maps were before this point, we've now got an Athena in the mix. So I'm just excited. If anything else, I'm just excited.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
But that does mean, though, that both players have a map each. So there's going to be a 2-1 guaranteed. And because both players were so close on the leaderboards, that position might be kind of where it is still. You know, there's not a huge opportunity for neither player to kind of just massively ascend above the other. Both players are going to be getting some points today, and seeing as neither player are, you know, dangerously near relegation just yet. You know, so they are kind of on the lower end of the Americas. But I think players like dramis and that, if they keep playing the way they normally do, there's the chance they can survive. You know, there are other players I think that need to be a bit more concerned. But both players getting points today. Good result for both of them. Now we're going to find out who's going to get, you know, the lion's share of it.
Yeah, and if dramis wins, he does open up a bit of a gap between him and Effortless and can breathe a sigh of relief in terms of the relegation. But I don't know, really. Effortless looked really good on Blood Run. A little bit sloppy around the edges near the end, but a lot more refined than it was on the first map for sure.
Now, Blood Covenant. We've had a couple of maps so far that have been quite spaghetti, for lack of a better term. Blood Covenant, one of the more fundamental maps. And we're going into just a champion that you can't get tired of seeing played at the highest level. Athena, she has this level of verticality that is almost completely unmatched. It is movement, whenever Athena wants to be somewhere, she can be there. You know, and it's the passive existence of her grappling hook as well. One of those champions that she hasn't got that big ability that comes back every 40 seconds or whatever. It's kind of like an extra piece of utility she has access to. Kind of similar to a kill, but hang on a minute. Looks like dramis is not interested in playing any games. He wants to go straight in. Problem is, he took a lot of damage on the way.
Yeah, and one of the things about Athena as well is that I'm not sure how much an Effortless might have played nice rail against an Athena. If you don't practice against it, you might be caught off guard by the tempo and the movement and some of the traps they're able to spring on you. So we'll see how he puts up. But obviously, Piercing Sight is a great ability to play against any champion with. And Effortless is doing a good job so far of picking up those wells and making sure he has as minimal cooldown as possible.
And you are going to be potentially quite constantly fighting for them. You know, Athena, if she's going to be using grappling hooks kind of the whole way, if she's near an hourglass, she probably is going to be able to take it, because she's used at least one grappling hook at this point. Speaking of which, opting to maybe get a read near Banana. There were going to be some hourglasses there, so potentially maybe he's going to run away and try and get some. Looks like one of them was taken, though. So here we go. Looking to set something up. Mega is going to get collected. Hopefully Effortless at least heard that, and here comes some of the entry damage. Dramis wasn't quite in the position to get some rails on deck. Ooh.
And this is a map where you can take those positions on mid-ground and abuse your rail capability, and that's what we're seeing Effortless doing well now. And I think it's what he wanted to do on Ruins in the first map, but with this, particularly with the Visor where you can't play at a high tempo, you need to play more positionally aware. We can see Effortless playing good, keeping his range and making sure he's picking strong rail angles.
It's a good rail thanks to Piercing Sight. Dramis full speed into him, and that is the strength of Athena. Like, if you get hit by a rocket, there is no escape.
No, and I think that might be an example of a lack of experience against an Athena, coming out of that teleporter, using the grappling hook to get away from the aim.
Wasn't enough though.
No, it wasn't. It was close, but not enough.
Good attempt, but some absolutely wonderful shots there from Effortless. Even if he looks like he might be a little bit uncomfortable in this matchup, not going to stop him from hitting some damn impressive shots. But now, some rail angles, isn't going to quite hit it, but Dramis knows he can't quite get in there to punish the cooldown. The speed, that's the difficult thing here. Effortless, he's constantly looking for those rails, but by the time he's hit an angle, Dramis is out of there. The thing is, Dramis is one frag down. Effortless is the person in the lead, so he's the one that's kind of able to dictate this pace. Absolutely. He's keeping the control.
Dramis also doesn't have a rail or a rocket launcher at the moment. I think he just picked up the rocket, so he has something to work with. Effortless could have rocket jumped up to try and protect that, so maybe a little bit of a mistake there, letting Dramis actually get back on map control and take that mid-ground. He has the rail and the rocket launcher now because of that mistake.
The Piercing Sight, more rails are missing.
Nice rail.
And that's the thing, he misses about 4 rails to finally hit the final one. But when he does hit it, it's important enough that it makes a difference.
No, that's a really important rail. It's forced Dramis away from this heavy armor, otherwise he would have put up a fight.
More of those hourglasses being taken, keeping as many of the grappling hooks away from Athena as possible, that's for sure. And here we go. Nice little bit of bonus damage. Effortless looking to get more. Does manage to hit at least one more rail in that situation. Is that Piercing Sight activated? Wonderful shot. Doesn't need to stick with the rail. Now goes for the LG, but a really important rocket from Dramis completely threw off Effortless's aim. I wonder if Dramis is able to survive here, though. He's very weak. Even after the heavy got taken, there's no health. He's going to pick up a little bit.
He did steal the heavy and now has a decent stack, having picked up a few health bubbles.
That was such a pivotal rocket.
Yeah, it was.
Just to throw off the entire aim from Effortless. That, by all accounts, should have been a death. Ooh. These are some scary rockets. No player getting hit so far, though.
But Dramis, with bridge position on that high ground, makes it very difficult for Visor to get up there. Using the Piercing Sight as soon as it's off cooldown to capitalise on the positioning of that Athena.
And he knows that Dramis wasn't really in position to stop him, so he has the high ground at the very least. Perfect opportunity to try and take this Mega. The missed rail unreturned means that Dramis takes way more damage than he's definitely comfortable with. And now we go into Mega.
No, but I like that use of the heavy machine gun, and it was probably only because he was actually out of ammo of the rail, but we can see that consistent damage means he's kept map control and stack advantage.
Managed to get some more of those rockets. Looking to go down, watch out for the tri-bolt. We've seen the damage that can come through, but dramis, even though he's hitting some damage, this is still Athena. She's very, very squishy as a champ, but he's able to return comfortably.
That's insane. Like, as soon as those tri-bolts hit, he was in. Like, just instantly. So hard to play against Athena, against a good Athena player.
You always say that there's the potential. There is always the potential here that Athena has the highest skill ceiling. I think of the champions that are in this game at the highest level of play. The one that what dramis is currently playing at. That this champion can easily not work. If you're not confident in your movement or you're just running into an awkward matchup and you just get destroyed. She hasn't got a lot of health to work with. Grappling hook doesn't always make a difference, but if you just have this confidence that players like dramis do, it just makes the champion look completely different.
Absolutely. It is also one of those champions where you cannot waste your hooks because you are a light champion and you're not naturally quick and you haven't got the movement capabilities of a Nyx. If you don't have those and you waste them or you push in, you're just dead. So your decision making needs to be spot on and your combat skills need to be strong. But if they are, you really are a force to be reckoned with, because you can just take unparalleled aggressive moves as we're seeing coming out from dramis.
Yeah, dramis straight into the jump pad, normally a death sentence. Guess what? I've got a grappling hook to completely change it.
There's no real other champion that can do that safely, particularly not a light champion.
And now piercing sight. The thing is, we've been looking at this, and it looks like dramis has had some great moments. He's still one frag behind, and this entire time, Effortless has been the player that's in the lead, because it's about, I think, being comfortable and letting dramis run these rings and run the circuit around the map, because ultimately, if he's not getting a frag, he's still not winning. And that's all there is to it.
But on the same vein, like, it has been, Effortless has tried to put pressure on, but dramis has just taken some good aggressive fights and hit enough damage to force Effortless away. But Effortless now is really on the back foot. He has got mid-grounder now, so he can have some pressure. Good rail there, real critical rail.
The fact that it wasn't returned is big, but again, the grappling hook able to elude the shot, and Effortless, he's in big trouble now. dramis has a fat stack. Effortless may have been comfortable conceding the stack before, but he certainly won't be now, because he's going to be the rat in the maze, hard to get around, and just trying to avoid it. And even though he gets a direct, it makes no difference.
No, and it was way too greedy from Effortless to take that rail. I understand why he did it. He had the piercing sight up. He thought it'd be an easy angle, but he was standing completely static. dramis knew exactly where he was and what he wanted to do, so it was just too greedy.
Now it's not just the fact that it's 2-2. It's that dramis has the control now.
It's also one of those rails that you're going to hit before he picks up a major item, so it's not really relevant. It's not worth the risk.
So if anything, it's going to make him mad.
Yeah.
He'll just go
Wake
in.
the beast.
You don't want to wake the dragon, do you? But in this situation now, dramis looking for some more rails. Would have potentially been a rail that I think Effortless would have quite liked to hit himself, just on the fact there was no armor at the time to really maximize it. Heavy going to be taken. dramis in and out, and once more Effortless going to concede that one. I do fear a little bit that maybe the movement is... There's almost an air here of Effortless understanding that dramis' movement is so crazy good that it's rare that Effortless will simply, win the race to the item, as it were. But can he finish the job? Goes in with the LG. Effortless nowhere to run and no avenue to escape. The lead gets taken by dramis at quite possibly the last second. This could be a last-minute map win.
It could be, and we nearly saw the kind of nightmare scenario coming out for dramis there, where he ran out of charges as he pushed in aggressively, and oh my god, he gets onto that item.
Athena and the movement. LOL.
He literally grapple hooked him away from the item by almost pushing him off. That was quite something. If Effortless got that, he might have got the frag, but nevertheless he didn't, and he has to make something happen now with just a minute to go.
You're so used to seeing a light champion and being like, well, okay, even though they're going fast, I can at least get some damage, and maybe I can just win the fight. It's just, there's no real way of knowing exactly when Athena is going to pull the trigger on one of those grappling hooks and just completely change her trajectory. And the closer she is, the easier her shots might be, especially if it's a rocket or something. So the damage she outputs is insane.
Yeah.
dramis, he's rarely missing like 100 damage every time he's close range on a rocket. And Effortless, there's no way he can escape. Yeah, GG. Unfortunately, this is too much work to do.
It almost feels kind of like an almost like the way Clutch used to be played, you know, where you can go up and you can just use that double movement ability to kind of spring surprise quickness off a jump pad or into a fight, and then you had the the kind of damage reduction to boost as well. So the one thing I did like about the way in which dramis played Athena is the fact that he
hang on a minute, at the last minute,
is that he uses them sparingly. And really strategically. It is easy to overuse them, but he uses them at the right times and at the most effectiveness. So I enjoy watching Athena when it's played well.
But it is similar to the Clutch, the effect of just, you know, the pure oppressiveness. But at the same time, she's tiny and Clutch is not. That's one of the huge elements. She's even harder to hit.
When you have that level of control where it was 15 megas to 3, and I think it was 11 heavies to 7, like when you're in that much control, it's so hard to oppress. And Effortless did a great job for a lot of that game in keeping it at bay. He was hitting good rails and he wasn't playing aggressive, but eventually got suffocated out the map. And as soon as dramis saw his opportunity, he was pushing in really, really well.
It's just the rise of Athena. It's always great to see. You know, these champions that they approach maps and they make the game look quite different, you know, quite significantly different, and that uniqueness they bring to the table. You know, congratulations to dramis for getting that 2-1 victory over Effortless. The fact that dramis was already a little bit ahead. You know, they were one leaderboard placement between each other. However, dramis was the player that was on top of that one. This is going to be just a big win for him, that is able to maintain his position above and get the win. It will just simply push him further than before. And finishing things off with a absolutely fantastic display. But we talk about the previous maps and how this was 2-1. And by all accounts, Effortless, he won quite convincingly on the, well, for the most of the map anyway, before the very end where the potential comeback was made on Blood Run. Effortless totally should have won that first map. And that is the, again, like, I really hate to be that public enemy #1 with the master of hindsight, but that should have been, by all accounts, a 2-0.
Yeah, and we see the way in which Effortless played the final 2 maps, and compared to the first, it was night and day. He looked much more refined, particularly on Blood Run, in the way he was playing. And if he played like that, he would have won. 100% would have won. His aim definitely got better, but it was his decision-making, his positioning that improved like leaps and bounds. And it might have been because he had the saw lag and he just like flying around the map. Yeah, and I mean, that's the curse of playing a fast champion sometimes.
For sure. I'd like to, I mean, I want to I'll cut Effortless some slack as well, because there's also this air of not everyone can have a perfect game every time. Like, there's always that time where someone just has like a bad game, or a game which is just, it just feels like there's a bit too many disasters for you to be happy with, right? So I think there's also the air of that just was not a very good game for him.
No,
it's just unfortunate.
It happens, right? But I think the biggest thing that I felt is that his weapon choice sometimes is a bit off, and can get caught off guard, particularly when he's using rail. But nevertheless, like he's still very strong, and 2-1 against dramis. With how close they are on the leaderboard, how close every single map was, it could have gone either way for sure.
Absolutely. Well, that's going to be our second series of the day done and dusted. We're getting quite through this stream, I think, tonight, aren't we? We're going to go set up our next set of matches and go to a short break. This is week number 6 of Quake Pro League Stage 2. We'll be right back.